Good morning, it's Lance Quartermaine here from Quartermaine Travel. I'm delighted to be having a chat here to Vicky Gordon, the sales manager from South African Airways, and Nicky Oosthuizen from Bench Africa. I'm thrilled to be partnering with both of you to take this small exclusive group tour to South Africa. And Nicky, I just wanted to talk to you about, well, tell us a little about the itinerary and what our clients can expect.
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity just to be introduced to a lot of the highlights of South Africa, starting in the beautiful Garden Route area, which has got so much beauty to it and diversity really, and then on to Cape Town, and then ending in the Oosthuizen Kruger area where you have a safari waiting for you. So what you'll find is South Africa has got a lot of diversity, so it's not all about animals. You'll in this specific tour, you'll find that there's nature, there's city experiences, and obviously the safari at the end.
So just drilling down into that itinerary a little bit further, so our clients are going to obviously leave Australia.
Yes.
They're going to fly via Johannesburg down to Port Elizabeth,
Yes.
overnight there in the Radisson Hotel.
What you'll find is we will obviously meet the clients at the airport in Port Elizabeth, and Port Elizabeth is very similar to Perth in a sense. This is
Right.
it's not a very big city, but it has a beautiful beachfront area. So the Radisson is located close to the ocean. So people arrive around lunchtime and they can then have the afternoon stroll, obviously at the beach area, and just relax before the tour actually starts. And then from there, you then depart with the group and your guide. So you always have the guide with you, and you're looked after, and your meals and some of your sightseeing is included in the package. So what happens is with that road, it's not a very long stretch of drive, but there's quite a lot to see between Port Elizabeth and Knysna.
So it's about 3 hours, is
Yeah,
that? Is
3-4
that about right? So
hours.
it's a bit like for West Australians travelling down a little bit further than Margaret River,
Yes.
I suppose, would be
Yes.
the gist of that journey.
Yes,
And-
similar roads,
Right.
conditions, similar beauty to it, and you'll find that you'll be travelling through beautiful forest areas and over these amazing bridges, Blowcrons Bridge being one of which is actually home to the highest bungee in the world.
Oh, okay.
Which,
Didn't know that.
yeah, so, and just the scenery is beautiful.
And I understand that, eating out and everything is really good value because the rand is very, the dollar's very
Yes.
high against the rand.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the cuisine and the standard hotels that we've personally selected on this particular tour?
Well, when right from the start, the food will just be absolutely amazing. But what you'll find is once you depart from Knysna into Cape Town, again it's another 4 hours drive or so. Cape Town has a lot of restaurants on offer, really something for every taste bud, and the food is exquisite and the price is superb. So that's one thing that we get a lot of feedback on, is how affordable it is, because what you'll find is at the moment it's around about 10 to 11 rand for $1.
Right.
So Vicky will tell you just
Yes.
recently she'd been there, and the amount of one that she had purchased for next to nothing.
Yes.
And quality wines.
Yeah.
The
So
Cape Town
things like
region.
the Pinotage
Yes.
and all those beautiful
Yes.
wines in that Stellenbosch area, which of course they'll be travelling.
Yes.
And just going back to you, Vicky, tell us a little bit about South African Airways and the service that they can expect from Australia through
Yes.
to Johannesburg.
Well, we've been flying out of Perth now for 60 years.
That's a long time.
Yes, it used to take about 25 hours to get to Johannesburg, but you can get there now in about 10 hours and 50 minutes. So it's a very easy, quick trip. We're the only airline that flies that direct route straight to Johannesburg.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And in terms of, obviously our clients are going business class.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about
it's
the
only way
service for business class?
It's the only way to travel.
Yeah.
And particularly because our flights are overnight.
Yes.
So it's really good to have that lie flatbed.
Sure.
That's really important, very comfortable. We also have a little massaging facility on the chair.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's a special feature. Again, you get to try the lovely South African wines,
Yes.
champagne and liqueurs, etc., and our beautiful food on board.
So it's about a 10-hour flight, and
And on the way home, it actually only takes 9 hours, so it's quicker getting back. Yes, our aircrafts are the A340-300s or 600s, and great aircraft for flying that particular route.
So literally they can hop on board in the evening.
Arrive early in Johannesburg around 5 a.m. So they're virtually just switching on the lights at the airport when we arrive.
Yes.
Which is great, so it avoids lots of queues and waiting through immigration at that time of the morning.
Excellent.
Yes, and then you can make use of the business class lounge in Perth here before they depart.
Right.
At the Qantas lounge, but in Johannesburg we have our own lounges. We have domestic and international.
Yes.
So they can have a shower there, get more coffee, get more food, more alcohol, whatever they need, and make themselves comfortable.
So that's obviously a great service while they're in transit on their way to Port Elizabeth. And just a little bit back to the tour. So obviously they're going to go on the garden route and the wine route, and then off to Knysna.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that I've been fundamental in organising is the Knysna or the Samola Hill Climb, which is a fantastic event that's been going for 10 years. You've heard a little bit about it. So this is sponsored by Jaguar in South Africa, and it's sort of like the equivalent to the Festival of Speed in the UK, where they have all these supercars, racing up a hill. I think the fastest lap time is about 30 seconds. So after Knysna, they sort of are going off to Cape Town. We have about, I believe, 3 nights in Cape Town. Tell me a little bit about Cape Town and what they can do in Cape Town.
Oh, Cape Town is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and if you've not been, you should need to go there soon.
It's amazing.
Because it's just, every person that goes there is just taken aback by its beauty and its diversity and just how vibrant it is. And what you'll find is within Cape Town CBD, you have the waterfront, you have the city, and a lot of history, obviously. Robben Island being the island just off the waterfront, where you catch the ferry if you wanted to go and view where Nelson Mandela was in prison for a long time.
Yep.
And you can go up the mountain and just enjoy the spectacular views from there. Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens, and then within about an hour and a half from Cape Town, you have the Cape Winelands,
Yes.
and we have half day or full day tours, or you can actually overnight there if people want to. But I'll tell you, it's worth even going there because it's so quick to get there. It's easy just to go there for lunch, really.
It's quicker than going to Margaret River, that's for
I'm
sure.
sure it
And
is.
it's actually my favourite place in the world, but also it's such good value for wine. So I bought 4 bottles of wine at a beautiful restaurant, having lunch, and it came to $27
That's amazing.
Australian.
That's amazing. And I understand Cape Town's quite cosmopolitan, so it's fantastic for shopping as well. So opportunity there for the guests to do a bit of shopping and that sort of
And
thing.
2 pieces of luggage with South African Airways.
Okay.
So you can buy up and bring home another
And that's
suitcase.
30, so that's 60 kilos.
32 kilos in
32
business
kilos.
class.
That's a lot
2
of money.
pieces
That's
of
a lot
luggage.
of shopping.
A lot of
Yes.
wine.
A lot of shopping, a lot of wine. So one of the questions we get a lot in the agency is security fears and things like that. So can you tell us a little bit about, put our clients' minds at rest about security in South Africa?
Well, obviously there has been many stories and news articles about certain things happening in Africa and in South Africa, and we actually pride ourselves in selling Africa for 50 years now. And what happens is within South Africa there is certain areas that things do happen, I'll be honest, but when you visit the main tourist areas, you are safe. And I get this feedback a lot of people that have just returned, and they couldn't actually believe how safe they felt.
Oh, that's
Obviously, in a group, which is
Yes.
good. You have your tour card and they look after you 24/7. And you just need to be alert and not wander the streets at 2 in the morning by yourself.
Like in any city, really.
Yeah, really. So when you go out to places like the game lodges, which we will obviously speak about soon,
Yeah.
then you in the middle of the bush. It's just you in your lodge. So there, you know, the animals all around you. You really are within a safe environment. And in general, South Africa is such a warm and welcoming country. The locals are exceptionally
Amazing.
welcoming. That's half of your experience is
Yeah.
the interaction with the locals. So if you've never been on a safari, this will blow your mind. And you fly from Cape Town straight into Hoedspruit, which is
Yes.
very easily accessible. And the Kruger Park itself is the size of Israel. It's a government-owned park.
The size of Israel.
It's
Wow,
very
that-
big,
that's
and
amazing.
it's obviously filled with a lot of variety of animals and all sorts of interesting characters. So what happens is, adjacent to that, you have the Greater Kruger area. Now this is where majority of the game reserves are situated. And there's no fences, the animals roam freely. So you have the opportunity to experience and view the big five as well as all the other smaller animals, birds. If you've never been a birder, you go to Africa and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're the biggest birder
Yes.
because the birds are just so beautiful. And it's just what a lot of people don't realize is just being in the bush and just the sounds and the smells and when you're on a game drive, usually it would be a 3-hour game drive in the morning
Yes.
or in the afternoon to enjoy the sunset.
Yes.
And sometimes you can decide to maybe do a bush walk
Sure.
in the mornings, or you don't really have to participate. You can sleep in if you want to, but you definitely might be missing out on something
Yes,
interesting.
It's an adventure.
So what happens is when you're out with your game vehicle and your game ranger, they
Yes.
actually would not just rush off and to see the next animal. They stop at and showcase the trees and the plants, and they actually explain to you how the landscape works and the fauna and the flora
tracking
and the
all this.
tracking, and they teach you about how to track the spoor and the dung. So
Yes.
it's a very educational experience.
So we've also arranged for our clients to have a sleep out as well, I think, on that particular game reserve. I mean, that's all quite safe, I'm assuming. So
Yes,
not gonna be eaten alive by...
No, it's safe.
That's excellent.
But yeah, so it's a very relaxing experience, even though you get up in the mornings quite early. But you can't wait for that next game drive because it's so
So-
exciting. You don't know what's waiting around the next bush or the next tree or
Yeah.
something of the sort. It might be that you see a lion or a leopard or just each animal has got a specific beauty to it,
Sure.
and it's just beautiful to see them up close and personal.
So, although look, we've arranged this to be like a small group tour for 14
Yes.
people, and which is great. Some people love doing the escorted tour side of things,
Yes.
but we've also arranged for some extensions at the end of this itinerary for those who want to stay on in South
Yes.
Africa. So we've spoken about organising an extension to Vic Falls and
Yes.
with Rovos Rail,
Yes.
to Chobe and some cruising. Tell us a little bit about those extensions. You've just done one of those, haven't you?
Yes, I've just been to Vic Falls.
Right.
Yes, beautiful place. I've been to both sides,
Yes.
Zambia and Zimbabwe, both as good as each other.
Right. And what can they expect with the Rovos Rail, Nicky? in
My
terms-
dream.
Oh, a Rose Rail is an experience and a half. It's one of the most luxurious trains in the world.
Right.
And what happens is with this specific departure, because the train does not depart every day,
Yes.
this actually fits in with one of the departures that goes from Pretoria, which is just adjacent to Johannesburg, onto Victoria Falls.
Sure.
So if people want to extend, this is a really good opportunity. And what
Yes.
happens is it's a 3-night journey and you're on this luxury train and it's like going back in time. It's colonial. It's a locomotive.
I understand that the stateroom you actually have a bath that you can sit in the
Yes,
bath on the train.
yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's
And
amazing. isn't it?
it's actually got a viewing deck at the back.
From the bath?
No, it's not. One of the carriages has got a viewing deck at the back. So what happens is, with this specific journey, 3 nights, all inclusive.
Yes.
Okay, and you have a butler. So I'd
A
say
butler.
you are well looked
This
after.
is like Lux, isn't
This
it?
is it. This
Very
is
luxurious.
5-star, all inclusive. And they have excursions en route.
Yes.
Now you travel through Zimbabwe, obviously on your way to Vic Falls, and then you get the opportunity to stop in Wangi National Park. Now
Wonderful.
Wangi National Park is one of the most popular national parks in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
There's a lot of different animals that you will find compared to Kruger that you've just visited.
Yes.
Things like the roan antelope, and a lot of elephants reside within Wangi National Park. So you get to go on a safari.
Yeah.
So you obviously, the train stops and they come fetch you, and you go and visit the national park, do your safari, and then you're back on board and you make your way to Victoria Falls. So then you can choose
Yes.
to stay on in Victoria Falls. There's quite a number of accommodation types on offer,
Yes.
from budget right into 5-star deluxe.
Yes.
What really is suitable is the Victoria Falls Hotel, because the train actually stops right adjacent to the hotel. You could almost just walk
to the
there.
hotel.
You
Yeah.
can just cross the
Yeah.
garden. And it's a very suitable experience because the Victoria Falls Hotel is a colonial hotel, and it's got a lot of history. It's been there for a long time.
So get off the train, walk
Yeah.
across the lawn, go to the hotel, have a glass of champagne.
There you
On to
go.
dinner.
Look at the
Yeah.
falls.
And you
Right.
have a
Fabulous.
beautiful view of the spray, and it's just
Gorgeous.
and it's a very good time to go to Victoria Falls, because this specific time that you're going in May, the falls is actually in flood.
Wow.
And
okay.
I would always suggest to people to, if they, if it is suitable for them, to take a helicopter flight,
Sure.
because the falls leads from the Zambezi River, which is the
Yes.
4th largest river in Africa,
Yes.
and it's more than a kilometre long and 100 meters drop. But you
Right.
don't see that when it's in flood. You see that when it's dry season.
Wow.
But it's got this beautiful gorge. So
Yes.
when you do the helicopter flight, you really get all of this in perspective. And sometimes when it's in flood, the spray can be 2-3 kilometers up in the air.
Wow.
But we do the tour of the falls. That
Yes.
will take you on foot right to the edge, and there's some beautiful waterfalls, but you get soaking wet. But it's part of the experience. It's so much fun, and the beauty is just amazing.
And then of course we've got the cruising in Chobe as
Yes.
well. So just a little bit about that before we wrap up.
Chobe National Park is in Botswana, obviously, and it's home to more than 50,000 elephants. It is
Wow. That's
mind-blowing.
Must be, yeah.
Now, what happens is, in Botswana, you interact with the animals much differently because there's a lot of water.
Yes.
You can obviously go to the delta, but now for this trip, we might just want to stay in the Chobe area. And Chobe has got a big river, and on this river, you have 2 cruises on offer, 2 and 3 night options. So it's a 5-star and a 4-star
Sure.
vessel. And
And I think we've planned for the 4-star one because
Yes.
for a very good reason, because it has a shallower draft and it's
Yes.
able to get into the more inaccessible areas.
And because it's there's a few of them, so some have 4 and others have 5 suites, so it's
Yes.
more intimate and a smaller group of people. And the other thing is, when you're on these cruises, you actually get so close to the animals, and you now interact with the animals differently because you see them drinking water. There's elephants swimming in this river. I've been on a sunset cruise in this river a few times, and we had elephants so close to us we could have patted them on the head, basically. So this is why people really enjoy this experience, and it's just the most beautiful sunsets in this area. Well, really, or in all of Africa.
So we've got something for everybody really. So basically we're covering the garden route, covering the wine route. We've got a significant motoring event in the middle of the tour. We've got Cape Town, all the cosmopolitan dining out, eating, drinking, everything to see. It's just amazing. Sounds like sounds like the journey of a lifetime,
It
really.
does.
I mean,
Yes.
it's fantastic. And I'm just, finishing Quartermaine Travel. I'm so pleased to be partnering with Bench Africa with so much experience, and of course with South African Airways, 60 years flying between Australia and South Africa, and of course Bench being established in 1969. Look, thank you very much for your time
Thank you
today.
so much.
Really looking forward to going to South Africa and leading this very exclusive small group tour. Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much,
much.
ladies.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you.